It usually shows up in small ways, nothing dramatic. You say the right thing at the right time. You hold back when you could speak. You do what's expected of you even when no one is forcing you. And afterward, you feel better. Not proud, not excited, just steady. Like you did what you were supposed to do. Like you stayed on the right side. You notice how important that feeling is, how much you want it to stay. You might help someone not because you had to, but because it feels good to be the kind of person who helps. You might keep quiet, not because you agree, but because causing trouble would feel wrong. Sometimes it's about rules, sometimes it's about manners. Sometimes it's about being reasonable, calm, or fair. Whatever the situation, there's a quiet pull toward looking like the good one. You might notice how uncomfortable it feels when that image is threatened, when someone questions your choice, when your reasons don't land well, when you're seen in a way you don't like. You want to fix it quickly. You want things to look clean again. This can happen even when no one says anything out loud. A look, a pause, a change in tone. Suddenly, you're aware of how you're coming across, and you adjust. You might explain yourself. You might soften your words. You might step back. Not because you were wrong, but because being seen as wrong feels heavy. There's relief in staying good, in staying acceptable, in staying on the right side of things. You don't think of this as a performance. It feels natural, like part of being a decent person. And maybe it is. But you can feel how much it matters, how much effort goes into keeping that image steady, how quickly you move to protect it when it slips. Most of the time, this all happens quietly. You don't stop to think about it, you just move with the feeling. But if you slow down, you can notice it, that pull toward being good, that need to feel right. It's familiar, comfortable, and it matters more than we like to admit. Carl Jung paid close attention to the way people want to see themselves. He noticed that being good is not just about what people do, it's also about what they don't want to see in themselves. When you feel the pull to look good, Jung would say there is something underneath it, something quieter, something less comfortable. People like to think of themselves as kind, fair, and reasonable. That picture feels safe, it feels clean. When something doesn't fit that picture, the mind moves away from it. Jung noticed how quickly this happens. A thought appears, a feeling shows up, and before it has time to settle, it's pushed aside. You don't stop and ask why being good feels so important. You don't look too closely at the fear underneath it. You just keep the image steady and move on. Some feelings don't feel welcome. Wanting approval, wanting praise, wanting to be seen as better than others. These don't sound good when spoken out loud, so they stay quiet. Jung believed these parts don't disappear just because we ignore them. They stay close. They shape behavior from the background. So the mind learns a habit. It shows the good parts forward and keeps the rest out of sight. Not in a dramatic way, in a gentle way. Like turning your head from something you don't want to notice. Being good becomes a cover. A way to avoid looking at motives that feel messy or uncomfortable. This doesn't mean people are pretending. Most people truly believe the image they carry. That's what makes it work. Jung saw this as normal. He didn't think it made people fake or dishonest. He thought it made them human. But he also saw the cost. When parts of the self are always pushed aside, they don't get understood. They only get hidden. The need to be good stays strong because it protects that inner picture. It keeps certain questions from being asked. And most of the time, people don't even realize they're doing it. They just know that staying good feels safer than looking too closely at what's underneath. Jung would say the image stays clean. The rest stays out of view. Friedrich Nietzsche watched how people talk about being good. Not in words, but in the way they carry themselves. He noticed that goodness is often less about what people feel and more about what they want to believe. When being good feels important, Nietzsche would say it's because it gives shape to the self. It helps people know who they are, or at least who they want to be. The feeling of being good is calming. It settles things inside. It tells you that you're on the right side. that you belong where you are. Nietzsche noticed how quickly this feeling turns into a story, not spoken out loud, but lived quietly. A story where choices feel right, where actions feel justified, where doubts don't need much space. Once that story is in place, it becomes hard to question it. The story protects the feeling. It wraps it in meaning. Nietzsche wasn't interested in proving these stories wrong. He was interested in what they do. And what they do is give comfort. Being good starts to feel like a rule, not a feeling, a standard you live by, something that feels solid and clean. The story helps keep uncomfortable thoughts away. It keeps the mess out. It turns doubt into something unnecessary. Nietzsche saw how often people mistake calm for truth. When the story brings peace, it feels right. That feeling becomes enough. Over time, this builds a strong habit. You don't just want to be good, you want to feel good about being good. The story makes that possible. Nietzsche noticed that this can make people defensive without realizing it. Anything that threatens the story feels wrong, even before it's understood. The story doesn't need to be loud, it doesn't need to be argued. It just sits there, holding things together. Being good becomes something you stand on, something that keeps you upright. Nietzsche would say that the story doesn't ask to be tested, it asks to be trusted, and most of the time it is. Because questioning it would mean giving up the calm it provides, and calm is something people protect. Niccolò Machiavelli paid attention to how being good works in the real world. Not how it sounds, not how it's meant. He looked at what it brings back to the person who carries it. From his view, being seen as good is useful. When someone looks good, they are trusted more. They are left alone more. They are questioned less. Doors open more easily. People give them the benefit of the doubt. Machiavelli would notice that this doesn't happen by accident. Being good becomes a kind of protection, a way to stay safe in a group. People who are seen as good don't have to explain themselves as much. They don't get watched as closely. Mistakes are forgiven faster. This creates a quiet reward, so people learn. They learn that looking good keeps life smoother. They learn that staying on the right side brings comfort, safety, and room to move. Machiavelli would say this is not about kindness, it's about position. Being good places you in a safer spot. It keeps you away from trouble. It keeps attention off you. It makes others relax around you. Over time, this shapes behavior. People don't just act good because it feels right. They act good because it works. The group supports this without needing rules. Praise, approval, silence. All of these guide behavior. Those who look good stay inside the circle. Those who don't feel the distance quickly. Machiavelli understood that this is how order keeps itself. Not with force, with reward. Goodness becomes a signal. It tells others who can be trusted, who belongs, who should be left alone. This doesn't require bad intentions. Most people don't plan it. They simply respond to what makes life easier. But the result is clear. Being good becomes a rule that pays. And because it pays, people protect it. They hold on to it. They avoid anything that might threaten it. Machiavelli wouldn't judge this. He would recognize it. Anything that brings safety and reward doesn't need to be defended. It survives on its own. And that is why being good feels so important. Napoleon Hill spent a lot of time looking at belief. Not belief as truth, but belief as comfort. He noticed how people choose ideas that make life easier to live. Being good comes with a belief that feels warm and steady. The belief that you are on the right path, that your choices mean something, that you are the kind of person you should be. Hill would notice how much relief this belief brings. When you believe you are good, things feel lighter. Doubts don't press as hard. Questions don't linger as long. You feel settled inside, even when things around you are unclear. This belief doesn't have to be spoken. It lives quietly. It shows up as confidence, as calm, as the feeling that things will be okay because you are doing what's right. Hill wasn't interested in arguing with this belief. He saw how useful it is. Belief gives people energy, it keeps them moving, it helps them carry uncertainty without stopping. Being good becomes part of that belief. It turns into a quiet promise you make to yourself that you're trying, that you mean well, that you're on the right side of things. This makes discomfort easier to live with. When something feels off, the belief steps in and softens it. You don't need to look too closely. You trust that being good will carry you through. Hill would say people hold on to this belief because it works. It reduces fear. It makes effort feel worthwhile. It gives meaning to patience and restraint. Belief doesn't ask for proof. It asks for trust. And most people are happy to give it because it feels better than doubt. This doesn't mean the belief is false. It means it is chosen. Hill saw that people return to beliefs that feel light, hopeful, and clean. Being good fits perfectly into that space. It offers comfort without questions. It offers peace without friction. And once that belief is in place, it becomes hard to let go of, not because it's true or false, but because it feels good to carry. Most of the time, we already know this. We just don't like hearing it said.